peace and power. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows all things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power. I love my comrades. Salute, salute. What's going on? What's good? What's good? What's good? Y'all know what's going on. It is Saturday night. It is Saturday night. So you know what we're doing here. Saturday Night Book Club. Saturday Night Book Club. Saturday Night Book Club. Peace and power. Salute to all. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. South Jersey's in the building. We see you, Green. Yes. Black is power. Yes, Tyree, what's good? Hey, JM, peace and liberation. All right, all right. As we have our family, our comrades. Uh-oh, Ms. Washington is in the building. As we allow others to come on into the space, to come on in to the circle, to join in this beautiful energy. I salute everyone. I hope everyone. Okay. Okay, V, we see the Bay Area is in the house. We see that. All right? I seen my brother T history, so I know Boston, Mass is in the house. And before we begin, okay, I was in the house. Before we begin, we all must give a shout. Peace, son. We all must give a shout. Brown girl, we all must give a shout and send healing energy, send our healing powers to our comrade Doggy Diamonds, who is still getting his voice back together. That's what took me a few minutes to join. I had to speak to him real quick, and he is actually getting on a treadmill right now. So we all send our super healing energy powers to him to heal up, make a speedy recovery, and quickly join in our energy. So you know what it is. It's our Saturday Night Book Club, and we are on Assata. We're on Assata, and we will be on it for a while. And I understand, I've said last week and the week before that, that we are taking this very slowly. We are giving as many people as we can time and space to catch up. Right? Of course, we could come through and, basically for discipline's sake, you know, for discipline's sake, we can, go through 3 or 4 chapters on our own and then come back and build on it. But I do believe that going at this pace allows others to join in the understanding, the togetherness of understanding at one time. All right? And in doing so, we build our cadre. We build a strong cadre. We build a foundation that won't be easily shaken. And this title is purposeful. Purposeful. Why? One, She. That's the main thing. She. We are beginning in a space where we have placed our woman first and in the forefront of the struggle. And when we do that, we open up not only our minds, but we also open up our hearts and our energy to that feminine warrior spirit that we all need in this struggle. So this is purposeful. And when you come into my space is full of purpose. And my space purposely is creating a circle of our space, a circle of universal love, truth, transparency, and awareness. And this is the first title. It has to always be the first title for anyone to gain knowledge of self, right? And to really come with a clean, a clean vision of all of the other books that we will be uh, digesting. You know, you could say read, you can say research, you could say study. Here, excuse me, I say digesting because that is what we have to do. We have to be able to digest these books. We have to be able to understand it to a degree of which we are not even thinking about it. We become it, we live it, and it becomes us. So this is always the foundation, right? She is she, and she fought, she was captured, she was liberated, and she, up until this day right now, is winning. And we study people who fought and won. We study people who fight and win. We rarely study losers, and we don't study people who have empty rhetoric, right? We analyze that, but we don't study, we don't become that. So that's why this is always a first choice for anyone who wants to be in a space where they consider themselves conscious and woke. Um, I also have to address, before we begin tonight's excerpts, I also have to address the passing, of Malcolm X's daughter, um, one of the twins. And it is very unfortunate, and the timing uh, has its irony with it. Uh, Even till today, people are still in my DMs and inbox asking me, what do I think about it? And well, first of all, when you ask me for my thoughts, you know, my thoughts are usually reserved, you know, for my most intimate relationships. And I feel that I do give a lot on these different platforms. People get so much of me that I reserve certain thoughts and perspectives for my immediate circle, and sometimes really just for myself, right? Um, when you ask for my thoughts, you definitely drop something in the Cash App, and as soon as the moderators join us, I'm sure my Cash App will be up. But if we going to hold on, man, Greg got gray hair all in my nose. Hold on, give me a second. That's the only thing about these grays. I gotta be right and exact. When I'm in public, I pull a hole. I don't like how it's looking. I really don't. So hold on, excuse me. You know, I don't like that. I could take all this here, but you know, I got a little you know, salute, Reg. You know, so once the moderators get here, they'll do their thing and the cash app will be up, you know. But to speak on it real briefly, I think we should not be in a space where we create false narratives, right? We don't create fantasy. And again, the timing of her passing is very ironic. Yes, I do agree. But I'll say this. As angry as the system is with our beautiful sister Assata Shakur and the work that she put in, right? As beautiful as she is and as angry this institution is with her, she still has $2 million bounty on her head. She has a daughter stateside. Nothing has happened to her at all. At all. And I'm saying that to say Malcolm's daughter was not active in, I mean, she wasn't active in the spaces I'm in at all. And for her, as I've said, for her to live right down the block from me with all of the issues that we protest in this community, in Brooklyn, period, with all of the incidents, uh, especially against Black women that we've stood up, with all of the businesses that we've closed down, many issues that for us, and especially for me, who is all around Brooklyn moving, not to come into contact with her, I would have to make the educated guess that she was not anywhere into politics to that degree, anywhere into any conscious communities, woke communities, uh, anything of the sort that would have me to believe that the government played a role in his sister's demise. So for us to run with that narrative the way many of us are doing, I think is disingenuous. Not only to who she is, but to also to the legacy of her family, the Shabazz family. So when people throwing, you know, I've seen a very weird one from a hip hop site that says she uh, participated in, you know, in the investigation into her father's assassination to that degree that the, you know, that the little boys wanted her done. And I'm saying that nobody else in that entire documentary that we saw on Netflix met their demise at all. Not, and they went deep. You understand? So I don't, you know, feel that we should push that. Again, ironic things happen ironically during the same different spaces. But you know, let's not do that. Let's wish her spirit well. Um, Acknowledge her for who she, you know, might have been, and let us continue to be better at what we need to do in order to remove ourselves from the boot of oppression. You understand? Because again, there's so many people who are today physically doing so much work against this institution, this corporation, this false claim of a country, you know, that uh, no, I don't buy that one. I don't buy that one. You know, so that's my take on it. I don't buy that. at all. All right. So as our comrades join us and as our moderators come in, and and again, we always thank our moderators for doing their best. When it comes to holding us down while we are exercising, while we are digesting. Let us do our job and make sure that we understand and move right in a way that we are responsible for the information that we are receiving. So let us begin. Where we left off, we left off at page 12. Our comrade sister is in a hospital, and at this point, the harassment has subsided. Salute, salute. At this point, the harassment has subsided, and let's get back to it. They've just read her rights. That was a paragraph where we stopped. Um, when they realized I wasn't going to talk, they began to leave. Then one came back. "Oh," he said, "I almost forgot to read you your rights." He pulled out, excuse me, he pulled out this little card and read from it. "You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to, etc." I wouldn't want you to say that we didn't read you your rights. Thursday afternoon, they're letting me make a phone call. I don't believe it. I call my aunt. She's not in. The answering service answers. I don't know who else to call. The only lawyers whose names I know worked on the Panther 21 trial. I call them at random. No one is in, but secretaries promised to give them messages. I'm disappointed, but I feel a lot better. Things are looking up. It is Friday. From the activity in the room next door, I can tell something is up. Voices and whispers. They are back and forth, in and out, arranging this, moving that. The police radio is jumping. What is happening? What is it? It can't be too bad, I think. They are leaving me alone. In a little while, a policewoman comes in. She is in a brown uniform and her insignia says Sheriff's Department. She's black or Hispanic. I can't tell exactly, except that she isn't white. Then some more police come in, dressed in uniforms similar to hers. Then more police. They are state troopers. One of them moves to the door and stands at attention. Then some men in suits come in. Then a man comes in with a stenographic machine. The Honorable Joseph F. Bradshaw, State of New Jersey, County of Middlesex. All rise. Then this judge walks in with a black robe on. One of the men in a suit reads the charges against me. Uh-oh, hey, Miss Locker, we see Londoners in the house. We see Londoners in the house, y'all. All our moderators and all our comrades, make sure that y'all acknowledge Simone Locker, our beautiful sister comrade from across the pond in the UK, has joined us this evening. All right? So everybody make sure y'all send love to her. And I hope she really is looking. I hope she recognizes all this here. All right? Boom. There we go. There we go. So this is what type of time we on in the States. That comrades connect and we do what we do. All right? Indeed. That's how we giving it up. Hey, Alabama, what's up? All right? So, again, right? Then, all right, this judge walks in with a black robe on. One of the men in a suit reads the charges against me. We are here today to serve complaints upon you for the matters arising out of the shooting of May 2nd of 1973. I will read you the complaints, leave copies with you on the charges that will be pending against you. The judge will then advise you on the arraignment of such rights you may have. You are charged under complaint number 119977 by Detective Toronto, New Jersey State Police, who says on the 2nd of May, 1973, within the confines of the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that you unlawfully and illegally resisted a lawful arrest being made by New Jersey State Trooper James Harper by discharging a dangerous pistol and wounding the said James Harper and fleeing the scene of the incident, all in violation of NJS 2A 85-1. You are also charged under complaint number S 119979 by Detective Sergeant Taranto of the New Jersey State Police, who says that on 2nd of May 1973, within the township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that you did commit an atrocious assault and battery upon New Jersey State Trooper James Harper by shooting, wounding, and maiming the said James Harper with a handgun, then and there discharged by the defendant, all in violation of NJS 2A 90-1. In the second count, you are charged by the said officer who says that defendant Joanne Deborah Chesimard did on the aforementioned date and place unlawfully and illegally assault the said James Harper with intent to kill, murder, and slay him by the use of a handgun then and there held by the defendant, all in violation of NJS 2A 90-2. It further charges that the third count, that the aforementioned defendant did at the above mentioned time and place commit an unlawful and illegal assault and battery on a law enforcement officer, to wit, one James Harper, a duly sworn trooper of the New Jersey State Police, by discharging a firearm and wounding the said James Harper, all in violation of NJS 2890-4. In S 119980, you are charged with legally and unlawfully committing the crime of murder by willfully and with malice, afterthought, shooting, killing, and slaying New Jersey State Trooper Werner Foster in violation of NJS 2A 113-1 and NJS 2885-14. Right? On and on and on and charging her. Right? On and on and on. On and on and on. Do you understand what is being said? Right? Specifically in these charges, or have you ever been charged with a felony? Legally, you must understand the language that is being used. And our Moorish brothers and sisters are always challenging that terminology. Salute Comrade Carol for the cash app, right? Because we are in an understanding, or they are in an understanding, that no one should have power or authority over you. Even though we are here, even though we have been enslaved in this corporation, how do you effectively challenge that? That is what is the task and the goal and the missions of many sects of the Moorish Science Temple or the Moorish community works diligently to put in effect, because without said jurisdiction, right, you are a vessel of universal truth, which means you have specific and unyielding governance and over yourself, and no one should be able to limit that, right? We have been caught up in a space where our minds become limited to not being able to see ourselves outside of that. When you can see yourself outside of that, that is usually who we deem as woke, right? As conscious, as people striving to name themselves and essentially governing yourself. So these charges wouldn't even matter, because in some space and time, and we'll get to it later on in the book, they made an attempt to prevent her from moving. And, that is something that our people still struggle with to this day, right? Our freedom, our liberation, being able to move freely in a space where there's confusion about liberty, about rights. And once you allow someone to garner or have rights over you, or you give yourself up and acknowledge that someone has power or authority over you by a piece of paper, by a constitution, by whatever it is, you will always struggle, right? You will always, always, always struggle. And that's where we get stuck at, because we, again, bow down to not only institutions, but people who are very evil, lack integrity, lack empathy, and I always tell you, are enemies of nature. So if you are an enemy of nature, you are also an enemy of humanity and us, our people, people of the sun, should never, ever be in a space that we will, continue to give those people a free pass over us. So the more you acknowledge that, the freer your dome will be. You understand what I'm saying? But there's a process to it. Because once you acknowledge it and you say it and you start to be it, you have created an enemy. You create enemy, and your enemy acknowledges you as an enemy to them. All right? So acknowledge that. So this is where, and they went on to charge her, won't get in all of the charges, but we got to that. And they also had her with possession of gun, this, that, and the third, and how they always layer charges on you. But the charges is always, right, against the state, against certain jurisdictions, municipalities. It's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. And I always mention, I'm telling you, you are not criminal. Criminality does not make you a revolutionary. It does not make you a revolutionary. Right? We don't do that. We must be soldierly, not criminal. Once you are deemed a criminal, once you are deemed a nigger, once you are deemed a rapper, once you are deemed a thought, once you take on these labels, they ain't do anything to you. But once you are standing in alignment with liberation, with revolutionaries, with soldiers, they have to handle you differently. All right? Differently. So I shall begin again. I think he will never stop. Half of the charges I don't even understand. I interrupt the proceedings. I don't have a lawyer here, I protest. I would like to have a lawyer present. They ignore me and keep on reading. How do you plead? They ask me. I would like to have a lawyer present. Don't I have a right to a lawyer? That will not be necessary, the judge says coldly. Enter a plea of not guilty for the defendant. And just as quickly as they entered, the procession departs. Later, the same policewoman comes back. She stands rigidly against the wall. Her face is a mask. Oh no, I think. Court again? What are they going to do? Railroad me here and now? I imagine myself being tried right there in the bed with no lawyer. The door opens. It is Evelyn, my lawyer, my aunt. She is the most beautiful sight in the world. She embraces me and sits down next to me. As usual, she is business first. All right? You understand that? Even in this here. One of my moderators, get rid of this right here. Matter of fact, hold up. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Don't worry about moderators. I took care of that. All right? But be mindful. We're going to have that. And again, don't be triggered by it. Just handle it as we see fit. All right? Trust and believe. Right? And again, even in the most extreme circumstances, we always have to be intelligent. Right? Always. We have to always be intelligent and move accordingly. You dig? She is business first. You understand that? I only have a few minutes, she tells me. They told me that I couldn't see you. I had to go to court and get a court order to see you. The judge would give us only 5 minutes apiece. Your mother and sister are outside, so talk fast. We look up. The police are practically standing in our mouths. I would like to talk with my client in private, Evelyn says. Would you please move back? This is an outrage. This is an attorney-client visit, and we have a constitutional right to privacy. The police move back 1 inch. I tell Evelyn about the kangaroo court in the morning. My mouth moves so fast it's like one of those old-style movies, but a talkie. I can see from the expression on her face that I must look horrible. How are they treating you, she asks. I don't have time to tell her the whole story, but I have to let her know what is going on. I don't know what they will do next. I have to try to get someone to put pressure on them to stop. I tell her some of it, but I just can't tell her the worst things. Her face looks so pitiful, and every time I tell her something else, her hands shake. Try to do what you can, I say. Time's up, miss. Evelyn makes her futile protest. I need to talk with my client. This is just not enough time. Sorry, miss. Time's up. They move toward her like they are going to beat her up. Then she is gone. I brace myself for my mother and my sister. It has been such a long time since I've seen them. I do not know what to expect. My mother comes in. She looks worried but strong. She kisses me. I'm proud of you, she says. The words spin around me, weaving a warm blanket of love. I am so happy I can hardly contain myself. My mother's proud of me. She loves me and she is proud of me. Too soon, the time with my mother is up. My sister comes in. She has her hair wrapped in a turban and she looks so pale. As soon as she sees me, she breaks out crying. Tears stream down her already puffy face. I can tell she has been crying a lot. I love you, she says simply. We don't do a lot of talking, but I feel so very close to her during those few minutes. Time's up again, and then she is gone. I lie there full of emotion. All of this is so hard on my family. They look vulnerable and shaken. This is maybe harder on them than it is on me. I wish there was something I can do to make them happy. Now, sometimes when we are rereading um, and digesting these joints, um, I read it all the time, and it still hits me because when you've been in that space and someone comes to visit and the emotions whirl around in your body, in your in your soul, and it gets deep. Most people don't connect to it, but I always did, because that's just what happens. Most of us don't realize that because of what we're doing in the streets, because of what we are doing, um, and whatever we choose to do, and we find ourselves in that situation where we are incarcerated, and your family who really isn't involved or have no knowledge of the degrees of which you are in, you become conditioned to it. You can basically handle whatever comes with it. And when you see them look at you, and you look at them and you see how it affects them, that should snap you back into reality and understand, you know, how what you do affects people. Now, some people don't have family members who give a damn about them. Um, some people have family members who are in just as deep, but it's a different space when you have families that are outside of it, um, and they don't connect to that prison experience. They don't connect to dealing with law enforcement. They don't connect to that harsh reality, that treatment. They just don't. And we sit there in our selfishness because we have been built for it. And it hits different. It hits different when you love your family, when you have a concern about their well-being, and you can witness how much pain and suffering that they're going through because they know that they can't reach you. It gets deep. It gets very deep. And at that space, you have to question, you know, what are you doing with your life? What is your purpose? What have you become? Where are you going? You understand? What's the best thing we can do for our families incarcerated? It depends on how they are handling the time. The best thing my peoples could do for me was to, make sure that they supported me how I needed to be supported, but I was a different individual. All I needed was books. I didn't need much. You know, I said I needed specific books to keep me engaged, to keep me militant, and as long as those books were coming through, I was fine. I really didn't need much. You understand? So if you have people who are still engaged in the same behavior, the same activities that got them there, right? You know, it's hard to support them. The only way anyone should really receive any support from outside is if they are, you know, making significant changes, asking for, you know, and they don't have to be as deep um, as I was. You understand? Everybody has a different level in which they can show change or growth. Some people may find a religion, and you know, help them through that. Some people may have had substance abuse, and they're getting help with that substance abuse, taking programs and stuff like that, and you can support them with that. Always remain in contact, you know. Um, but it's difficult because I've seen people behind the wall mistreat their family, you know, abuse their family and ask for all type of things that they really don't need, you know, just for them to be comfortable. It's, you know, it gives it you know, it's a lot, you know. No, my cousin got 35 years for murder. Has until he's 70. Yeah, that's a long time, especially now, especially with this with the new struggle of this virus running around. You know, prison is just not a space to be in. It's just not. That's why I always tell, you know, our tribe not to. We have no space there. We have no time to be there. So criminality is out. I don't care how frustrated we may be with this current system. We cannot give our bodies up into it. That you don't. There's no win in there. No win. None. You're weaponless. So as frustrated as you may be outside, you always have a shot. Always. Excuse me. We have no time for that shit. I mean, literally. You are at a loss. You're at a loss. Look at who we have. Look at what we have. Look at who we have behind those bars. As one of our comrades printed in the chat, we have Mutulu Shakur still behind bars. One of the most dynamic, courageous leaders we ever had. We have Leonard Peltier from AIM, American Indian Movement, still behind bars. Right? We have our Imam, H. Rap Brown, right? Behind bars. Mumia, behind bars. There is absolutely no wins once you are captured. None. None. Out here, we can shake, rattle, and roll. We can shake, rattle, and roll. I don't believe in prison reform. That ain't where it's at. Our babies have to know that they are soldiers, that we behind enemy lines, and we deal with prevention. We deal with prevention. Make sure the criminal mindset never enters their brain. That's what we have to prevent. You know, reform. Reform is nothing. That's comfort. That's switching shit up while the system remains intact and can bite us at any time. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. So we have to eliminate that state of mind. And when you eliminate that state of mind, you have room for growth. You have room for a revolutionary mind state. You have room to intake information that make you the perfect liberator. But when you're thinking about get over, because that's what a criminal does, criminals get over. They don't play to win. They plan to get over. They plan to be selfish. You understand? Um, it's work though. It's work. Oh, thank you, Big Ma. Thank you. Thank you. Salute, salute. It's always, an honor and humbling when people speak highly of you and share the information. You understand? Because again, I'm just a vessel and I've struggled enough. I felt enough pain and I put in enough pain to understand that we can win. Just have to remain disciplined and keep pushing. Remain militant, you know? And I'm gonna, begin. We're gonna close out this chapter. All right. Two black nurses were very kind to me. When they were on duty, they would go out of their way to make sure I was all right. They made frequent trips to my room, for which I was especially grateful during those first days. If you need anything, just ring, they said knowingly. One night, one of the nurses came in and gave me 3 books. I hadn't even thought about reading. The books were a godsend. They had been carefully selected. One was a book of black poetry. One was a book called Black Woman in White America, and the third was a novel, Siddhartha, by Herman Hesse. Whenever I whenever I tired of the verbal abuse of my captors, I would drown them out by reading the poetry out loud, Invictus, and If We Must Die were the poems I usually read. I read them over and over until I was sure the guards had heard every word. The poems were my message to them. When I read, when I read the book about black women, I felt the spirits of those sisters feeding me, making me stronger. Black women have been struggling and helping each other to survive the blows of life since the beginning of time. And when I read Siddhartha, a peace came over me. I felt a unity with all things living. The world, in spite of oppression, is a beautiful place. I would say Om softly to myself, letting my lips vibrate. I felt the birds, the sun, and the trees. I was in communion with all the forces on the earth that truly love people, in communion with all the revolutionary forces on the earth. I was definitely getting better. They were even unchaining me so that I could hobble to the bathroom every now and then with the help of the nurse. I was still weak, and when I returned from the bathroom, I would flop on the bed as if I had just accomplished a great physical feat. But at least now I knew what was wrong with me. During those first days, I could barely ask, and when I did, they acted as if my condition were some top secret information I was not privy to. I had 3 bullet holes. There was a bullet in my chest, it's still there, an injured lung with fluid in it, a broken clavicle, and a paralyzed arm with undetermined damage to the nerves. I kept asking if I would be able to use my hand again. 1 or 2 doctors said flatly no. The others said maybe yes, maybe no. Anyway, I was gonna live. Story. And this is a poem at the end of the chapter. Story. You died, I cried, and kept on getting up, a little slower and a lot more deadly. So there should never be a question, and I will leave that uh, tonight, right? And we will start chapter 2 uh, next week, right? But from our previous 3 weeks, we see the type of treatment that she had. Understand, when you make statements, when you organize effectively, when you protest, right? When you protest effectively, you will probably meet the same results if you're captured. So expect it. This is not a game. This is not play. When you speak liberation, when you speak of consciousness and awareness, and you manifest that through your actions, all bets are off. All bets are off when it comes to what kind of treatment you will receive. And there is no sympathy for you from the other side. Know that. And there will be no sympathy for you from melanated people who are in allegiance with the other side. Trust it, you have to know your position. Know exactly what we're speaking when we're in this group, when you're on these lives on different platforms and you are, enveloping yourself, right? With people such as myself who only want you to be able to truly love yourself, to truly, make your own decisions about how you want to live. People will not like that at all. Yes, Mello, yeah, you are. And there will be people as close, intimate family members, intimate partners, friends, all type of people who just will not be able to understand your commitment to yourself, your commitment to your comrades, your commitment to struggle, and your commitment to liberation. And you have to be fine with it. That is a hurt that you should be able to get over with within 3 seconds. This ain't heat. It ain't 30 seconds or less. It ain't 15 seconds or less. 3 seconds. You should be able to look at that person and say, kiss my ass. I'm good. Don't need you. Because it's a dangerous, dangerous game. And that goes for any and every part of it. That's why I tell you, no one has to know your thoughts, your moves, your beliefs, anything. If they're not in alignment, because it gets nasty. It gets nasty. And you have to know and understand that. So, I believe that I'll be going over to, I think I'll go to Instagram real quick. Thank you, Ma, for the Cash App. I think I'll be going over to Instagram for Q&A. We're gonna have a Q&A on tonight's excerpt. Also, it'll be much easier for people to join us. Understand that, and also a little bit easier for people to engage, right, in the conversation. And never know, somebody may drop a Cash App and be able to join me. You understand? I love you too. Let's grow our tribe. Let's grow our tribe. Understand? Because we need each other. We're responsible to and for each other. We're responsible to and for each other. So let's grow our tribe and continue to walk. Continue to duck. Continue to strike. And continue to love ourselves. All right? So I'm going to Instagram. You're welcome to join me. Let's get busy. Salute to everybody who has joined us. Hey, Storm. A salute to everybody who has joined us tonight. Again, share the video and be great. That's what we're here to do. We're here to be great. I love my people. Don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. So let's go to IG and raise some hell. All right, y'all with me? 76 in the building, 97 likes. Y'all with me? Let's go raise some hell on IG. Let's let's shift up the vibration and get all that Negro shit up out of the way. Yeah. We not dealing. Let's shake that shit up a little bit. All right. Salute.